All right, what's going on? So in today's video, I'm gonna show you all my chest workout and talk about whatever the fuck comes to mind. I'm still tweaking off the pre that I took, coffee and stuff like that. And I think that in bodybuilding, there's like a very underrated artistic aspect to it. You know, people always talk about, oh, like you're making, you got like a stone of marble or whatever, and you're carving it out and all that stuff. And that's kind of like all that happens. People don't really get into anymore. That's kind of just all they say. It's pretty surface level. And I would urge everyone watching this to find out how you can express your art, whatever that is, and your philosophies into your training. And I think that there are multiple ways that I do that. One is like I would call it like a hyper specific technique on every exercise. And there's just like a very specific goal, I would say. So you'll see like on my bench, I use tons of range of motion. On my dips, I use tons of range of motion, but I'm not like, that doesn't mean every exercise has that same tempo, has that same range of motion. Like some exercises, I mean, when you get into it, it really is just kind of like well-rounded training. But through kind of, I guess, expressing what I want to on bench, which is like maybe a form of like, I don't want to say honesty, but like I want it to be as hard as possible. I don't want to have like a huge arch. I don't want to bounce. Because I feel like it's kind of lame. You end up kind of needing to round it out, because then at the lockout, you're not getting as much work on the triceps because you literally have less weight. It becomes more of a chest exercise at that. And that's why I think that this is more of a intermediate, maybe advanced tactic to really dial in every exercise. Because I think without the help of a coach, a lot of beginners would really struggle to kind of round it out as it's needed. Where like the bench is really hitting my chest, but it doesn't really do that much for my triceps, honestly. But the dips undeniably like blow up my triceps. Like I get a crazy tricep pump every time I do them. And even though it is still strict and I do still kind of pause in the bottom, it just blows up my triceps. But on other lifts, like when I hit back, like I feel like my chest benefits more from a stricter technique. When I hit back, I kind of do like whatever I want. So like on the really wide pull-ups I do on Mondays, those are pretty strict. But then when I do T-bar rows, I'm also usually pretty strict. But then if I do shrugs, it's not strict at all. Like you'll see right here, like they're strict, and they're kind of strict. Like I'm not pausing at the top. Like I'm kind of just bouncing. My traps are already sore. But when I get more used to this movement, I've only been doing them for 2 weeks. I'll start bouncing more and turn it into more of a power shrug. But I think that kind of like, because people say dial in your technique and stuff, but I don't think they know how to really approach it. And I'm tweaking so hard off this pre, I'm not really like, I don't think I'm saying it how I want to say it. But it's like if you stop doing your bouncy bench and stuff like that, well, now you have a form of overload that isn't being achieved. You don't have that like just crazy stress at the lockout on the tendons, on the joints. And then you have to find another movement to kind of fulfill that. So that could be board bench, that could be heavy lockouts that you do probably like once a month, once every 3 weeks. You don't need that much. For me, it definitely expresses itself through the dips. And if I do handstand push-ups or something like that, like that's a form of overload. But people don't think about it. Like people don't kind of think about like when I do like my dumbbell overhead press, I don't really go all the way down. Like I kind of stay in the middle and kind of do a pumping form. And they're not really that strict, but like my shoulders blow up from it. So that's kind of my thought, is you need to learn how to dial in every muscle group. Okay, and I think I just had to delete the chunk I made, but it's kind of funny because I think a lot of this stuff, once you kind of figure out how it works, it ends up feeling like common sense. Like you're like, oh, obviously, like learn how to dial in every muscle group. But every muscle group really is different. And I think your muscles want to get stronger. And I think your body wants to get bigger and stronger. Because people a lot of the times will say like, nah, like after a certain point, like your body doesn't want to get bigger. It doesn't want to get stronger. And I think that that more so comes from them not knowing how to train rather than the body. Like, obviously it grows slower, but like, just like anything, you get more advanced, it's harder to make gains. I think your body still wants you to get bigger and stronger. You just got to know how to meet it and like how to talk to it. You know what I mean? So I think part of that is definitely like doing things out of love for your body and being healthy. Like, I think like I get like average like 15K steps a day. But I've been getting 20K the past little bit and doing a little bit of cardio, and just I try to eat pretty damn healthy. And I think that's a very underrated aspect in natural bodybuilding, because you don't really have, you don't have the substance variable. You really just have training, sleep, and eating. And if your diet is unhealthy, if you're unhealthy, why would your body want you to get bigger and stronger? It's going to be like, yo, like your blood pressure is fucking off the charts. Like you can't even run a mile. You can't even run a lap around a track. Like, why would we let you get any bigger? And when you view it like that, it's like, oh, now I need to, you kind of get into some side quests that you might have to do. Maybe you got to get more flexible. Maybe, if you're always out of breath after your sets, maybe you need to do some more cardio. And like low-key for lifters, like, yeah, you could probably always do a little bit more cardio. A little bit. Because most lifters aren't doing any cardio. If they are, like, it's just walking. Like, I'll usually go Saturday when I get off work, I'll do like a little ruck, but not like a walk ruck. Like I'll hit like a little jog, you know what I mean, with 50 pounds for about 20, 30 minutes. And dude, my throat's always sore afterwards. I'm like, that was tough. But it's good I don't get as out of breath after my sets. I'm a little bit out of breath right now because of all the coffee I drank. But you need to maximize your health. And then, because like getting bigger is kind of like almost, to me, it's this self-actualization where like you would not be worried about this if you were in a survival mode. Because what, you're going to lift? Like, if you're in the jungle or whatever and you have, more important priorities like getting your next meal, then you're not, you're going to have a certain amount of fitness and strength that you have from living in that environment. But why would you get any more? It's going to be a waste of time. You need to get your next meal. You need to get some water. And I kind of view health the same way, where if your health bar or whatever isn't fulfilled to what it needs to be, then why would your body let you get bigger? Because it's going to be like, this is hella bro science, but in my mind, I feel like it would hold you back, because if your health isn't maximized, then how can you really self-actualize and get bigger? Because it is kind of this, almost, lifting in this style really only exists because of how comfortable our civilization is. You know what I mean? Like, people are only worried about getting a workout in because they don't do manual labor for their job. Or at least the average person is. Like, there are definitely some dudes back in the silver era or whatever. They're bricklayers. Even nowadays, you got blue collar workers or guys that are, like, I'll like work on a farm here and there and still hit my workout afterwards, but life is a lot easier than it used to be nowadays. And because of that, you're kind of forced into this like extra chunk of like, oh, like now I need to actually upkeep my fitness. But I really only think like it's fitness, you know what I mean? And it's kind of a lame term because people hear fitness and they're like, they think of all this stupid stuff. And I get that. But like from like a general standpoint, like the idea of being fit is a pretty, like it also includes your health and your cardio. So if you are struggling to get bigger, definitely try and eat healthy. Try and maybe do some fasts here and there, because I like definitely get insulin sensitive. Like I've been getting way more insulin sensitive. I eat so many carbs, so much sugar, and it's actually the move. But yeah, kind of going on a tangent here, but maximize your health, and then the gains are going to come. I really do think that your body will tell you how to lift. But that only comes with experience and definitely talking to other people that are smarter than you. But a lot of it is really personal after a certain point, and you're going to have to figure out, what your muscles need. And I think a lot of that only comes with lifting over time.